In the wake of President Bola Tinubu's directive that all ministries, departments and agencies fully funded by the federal government remit 150% respectively of the revenues into a subcurrent account, a subcomponent of the Consolidated Revenue Fund (CRF), where the federal government will now receive and consolidate its revenue earnings, Nigerians are wondering if the Treasury single account CSA used by the previous administration did not meet the goal for which it was set up. Our correspondent, Nabuchi, in this report examines the viability of the TSA and the expectations of the sub-recurrent account.
The Treasury single account was proposed by the federal government of Nigeria in 2012 under the Jonathan administration and was fully implemented by the Buhari's administration to consolidate all inflows from all agencies of government into a single account at the Central Bank of Nigeria. The TSA was primarily designed to bring all government funds in bank accounts within the effective control and operational purview of the Treasury in order to enthrone centralized, transparent and accountable revenue management, facilitate effective cash management and ensure cash availability, among others. This policy, which came in fully in 2015, enables the government to take note of inflow and outflow as managed by the federal government and enable accountability in terms of government earnings and spendings. As the Buhari administration bowed out, it became obvious that TSA was either bitten by corrupt government officials who dipped hands into the Treasury and carted away a huge sum of money, or those who influenced such action that undermined the purposes of the account. It is to a firm grip of the government revenue flow that the Tinubu administration issued a directive in December 28 circular by the Finance Ministry and publicized on Tuesday, effectively closing the single Treasury account and introducing a sub-recurrent account to improve revenue generation, fiscal discipline, accountability and transparency in resource management and waste prevention under Bola Tinubu's nascent presidency. This made mandatory to all ministries, departments and agencies (MDAs) that are fully funded through the annual federal government budget, receiving personnel, overhead and capital allocation, and on the Schedule of Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, and any addition by the Federal Ministry of Finance to remit 100% of their internally generated revenue to the account, which is a subcomponent of the Consolidated Revenue Fund (CRF). Nigerians are already criticizing the plan, saying it should be scrutinized to ensure that it's profitable to the citizens.
Based on the subject matter of closing of the TSA, it depends on which angle we're all looking at it from. It might be profitable to some and might not be profitable to some, especially people who are fond of taking loans and money and finding it difficult to pay back. And this government seems to be in the mood to try and close the gap. But like I said, anything that has to come with the federal government, we all also have to look at it with serious scrutiny and with serious eye down the matter to know that it is not just to benefit them, because I won't lie, as much as I'm a civil servant, we know that governance is a continuum and the people has to be put in the forefront of it. So if this closing of the TSA is not in line with trying to help the people,
it's just the same thing. It's the same way we still go. The TSA is even better than this consolidating, account. My own contribution to all these things is not this. This is not what we are looking for. They should help. The masses are suffering. That's what we are looking for. The masses are suffering. All these things, all these reforms that are bringing that is not working, it's going to end up in their pockets. We are not after that. They should do things that will help the masses. If not, the military should take over power.
This is going to take. We should just allow him, because he has a good plan for this nation. He has done it in Lagos and he's still doing it, because all the people that they are in the system that work after him, they follow all the master plans he has. So he also have master plan for this nation. So we should allow him to go ahead with any policy he's going to introduce. It's a great politician, he's a political strategist, so we should allow him.
Agencies and departments that are partly funded by the federal government having budgetary allocations for capital or overhead expenditures are expected to remit 50% of their gross revenue, while statutory revenue like tender fees, contractors' resignation, sales of government assets and so on should be remitted 100% to the sub-recurrent account, while agencies not funded by the federal government are also expected to remit 50% of the generated revenues. Will this make management of public funds easier?
Simply just take this with a pinch of salt, I'll say it that way, and with a little bit of optimism, and see that hopefully this is going to be a beneficial aspect to the Nigerian state and the people in general going forward.
It's the same work, it's the same yesterday that we are seeing is going to see today. Nothing is going to change. It's the same thing. The people that will loot. Those people that everything will end up in their pockets.
We should expect better and hope for better. If it is okay, particularly the civil servant, because the problem of the nation lies, on the poor remuneration of the civil servant, because they are the custodians of all these funds. They know where these funds are coming from. They know where it goes. And if you are not paying them well, they will also, do another thing against the system.
Most of corruption in the system, and to me, the president has good intention for Nigeria. The only thing is that, to destroy a house, a day you can destroy a house, but for you to build it, it takes time. So we should just give the man time.
What happened to the former TSA before? Is that what happened to that one will still happen to this one they created? The same thing that happened to the former one will happen to this one. We have been hearing story in Nigeria every time, story. Are we going to eat story? We want Nigeria to work. They sit in their office, they don't know what Nigerians are passing through. They don't know what is happening. You don't go to the street, they don't go to the market, they don't go to the different places to see what people are passing through. That is not easy. They get everything easy on their own. They live a very easy life.
Though the new accounts policy has not been fully operational, government MDAs are obliged to cooperate with the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, who shall open new TSA sub-accounts for all federal government Ministry of Finance except where expressly exempted. For all federal government agencies or parastatals listed on the Schedule of Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, and any additions by the Federal Ministry of Finance except where expressly exempted, and that the new account opened for agencies or parastatals shall be credited with inflows in the old revenue collecting accounts based on the new policy implementation of 50% auto-deduction in line with Finance Act 2020 and Finance Circular 2021, 50% cost to revenue ratio. While the current approach bears resemblance to the previous administration strategy, all revenues in the new processes are consolidated into a unified Treasury account, and the Office of the Accountant General calculates deductions according to approved percentages. The remaining funds are then entrusted to the remitting agency. This contrasts with the prior administration, where agencies autonomously determine the remittance they provided to the federal government. Nigerians hope that the new account regime will work and reduce or even eliminate the wanton corruption that has eaten deep into the country's system.